Big breaking news tonight, and really lousy news if you're Yolanda Saldívar.
Ha!
She's the woman who murdered the biggest Tejano music superstar of a generation,
You're out of there.
Selena Quintanilla, but better known to me and just about everybody else as Selena.
So we reported on this, me and Christy, about her being up for parole at the end of the month. And I'm not going to lie, it happened like about maybe almost a week before the end of the month, right? Today's the 31st, but we thought it was the 30th or 31st. It was being reported, but she got denied a little bit earlier. I don't know how parole works. I've never been to prison. Thanks for asking. But the point is, Yolanda got denied parole. We did a video on it. Many people were pissed off. And I'm going to be honest, I know why. Because we love Selena in Texas, especially, but across the United States. But I'll continue and let this video play. But again, Yolanda was denied parole and everybody was excited. Let's go.
Yolanda Saldívar just learned a few hours ago that she's going to be cooling her heels in prison for at least 5 more years till her next parole hearing in 2030. She's been serving time for a shooting. She shot Selena dead in her back. And she's been serving for 30 years, and this was her first chance at parole. But the Texas authorities shot it down, saying, after a thorough consideration of all available information, which included any confidential interviews conducted, it was the parole panel's determination to deny parole to Yolanda Saldívar.
And they say that in Texas, it's very hard to get your first parole, approval. After thorough consideration of all available information, confidential interviews conducted. Whoa, they denied her, y'all. So I don't know if she's not rehabilitated, if she has any remorse. Who knows? But either way, the parole board denied her for their reasonings. And, I say good. I'm really the kind of Christian that's eye for an eye over here, right? And I know the Lord Jesus said, don't hit them back. But when it comes to something like this, when you unalive somebody, no, we're wasting too much taxpayer money at times with housing these people and feeding them. When they committed such an act to someone, it should probably be done the same thing to them in later homes. Easy and simple. But she got denied.
And set her next parole review for March of 2030. Bottom line, the prison officials in the Lone Star State say that Yolanda Saldívar is, quote, a continuing threat to public safety.
Whoa.
If you lived through this story 3 decades ago, you knew what a gut punch it was. Back in 1995, Selena was the Taylor Swift of Latin music, and Yolanda was flying high as the president of her fan club. But her millions and millions of fans had no way of knowing that the violence and the tragedy that was about to happen would steal their beloved superstar away.
It's very sad. I've talked about it before. With Selena getting taken out, Tejano music was never the same. I've never heard them call her the Taylor Swift of our time, but man, that's what she was. I always wonder how big she would be, but man, when she was on the uprise. She dropped the English album. I'm pretty sure she would have done movies. She was doing her own clothing line before many people. She was ahead of her time, y'all. She was conservative with her views. Her family was religious, from what I've come to find out. And she was unalived by Yolanda. I said it before. I think a lot of people quit naming their kids Yolanda due to this woman doing what she did to Selena. We lost a great one, y'all. Texas superstar. Probably could have been even bigger. She was internationally known. But it was a big gut punch. It was a big, hit to the Tejano music scene when she was taken out. But let's be honest, she's a human being. More importantly, her family lost her. The future prospect of children, gone. Because of Yolanda. Sorry, little witch.
Perez was the 20-something queen of Tejano music. And queen may be an understatement. She got her start in her family's band, Selena y los Dinos. And with her father, Abraham, as her manager, Selena went about shattering barriers in a music scene dominated by men.
How did they do it? Her father. Look at that man. I've heard stories about him in the past. I've seen videos. They say that he's kind of rude. They go to the Selena memorial, and he's kind of a jerk. I've heard this many times. I've seen TikToks and whatever. I don't know how true that is. But just look at this man, at his stare, at his demeanor, his stature. He did a hell of a thing introducing the world to his daughter and their group. And I commend him on, bringing up a very decent and modest, family orientated production here. I give him props. I don't think he ever went over the line. You saw in the movie with Jennifer Lopez where Selena could barely wear the certain kind of clothing she wanted because her father was very conservative in his ways. He let a little bit, kind of slide here and there. But for the most part, I think the Quintanilla legacy has never really been, looked down upon in the business aspect or the morality. And he's a father concerned. And he did good, I think, by raising his kids a certain way and having them in the music industry. Even though that's something I wouldn't want for my kids. In Texas, it's a little bit different. You're part of these Tejano bands or whatever, they're family orientated. At least I know at that time he was. He had a dream for his family, and he did it. But the devil's always lurking, y'all. That's why I feel bad for this guy. There he is with his daughter. I have a daughter. Beautiful, young, American teen right now, what she is. And she somewhat reminds me of Selena. I did it in the last video. It looked like my daughter on stage. I thought it was Selena. It was actually Jennifer Lopez. That's how good that little clip was. But I could feel the pain. I could relate to Mr. Quintanilla right here. Being a father of a young Texan and protecting her and guarding her.
In 1994, she became the first female Tejano artist to win a Grammy for Best Mexican American Album.
I'd like to thank my band, Bozinos, my father, Abraham, my brother, who's a producer of my music, and also my sister. Thank you for all the support. And also like to thank all my Latin family. Thank you for having faith in me. I love you. Thank you.
At the ripe age of 23, Selena was cemented as a superstar and was fast becoming a global icon.
But it's kind of scary because you never think you're going to get that far. And now that we've achieved some of the goals that we've set out, it is kind of scary because you don't know what to expect after that, You don't know what to want anymore.
That part wasn't exactly true. Selena knew exactly which mountains she still had to climb, and she was climbing night and day. By 1995, she was working on an album called Dreaming of You, and her fans believed it would launch her to the pinnacle of mainstream pop right alongside the likes of Madonna. But one of those fans was not like the others and brought everything. Selena's meteoric rise, her sky-high dreams, and her very life to a heartbreaking end. Yolanda Saldívar was president of Selena's fan club and went on to manage Selena's clothing boutiques and beauty salons. The brand was called Selena Etc. and opened in 1994. There were shops in San Antonio and Corpus Christi, but Selena had plans to expand into Mexico and Puerto Rico. Yolanda Saldívar should have been a big part of those plans.
What a sorry freaking witch. I think this is probably one of the biggest, most hated people in Texas history, y'all. Yolanda. Trash. I'm glad you're still locked up in parole. I kind of thought about, 30 years? Nah, you like I said earlier, you need to do your full sentence. I forgot exactly what it is, but if it was up to me, simple.
But in early 1995, Selena's dad discovered that Saldívar had been helping herself to more than $30,000 in forged checks.
Measly ass $30K. Well, I guess back then it was probably a little bit more money, but shame on you. Judas, you sold out one of the biggest entertainers in our history for $30,000 freaking dollars in hot checks, you sorry witch.
Selena didn't want to believe it. But on March 31st of that very same year, 1995, she met with Saldívar at a Corpus Christi Days Inn to have it out. The pair argued. Selena said she no longer trusted Saldívar as a friend and certainly couldn't keep her on as an employee either. At which point, Saldívar grabbed a gun and shot her idol and her boss in the back.
And this is after Selena took her, I don't know if it was Mexico or where, because Yolanda claimed that she was R-word. She said she was SA'd, and Selena was helping her out, trying to, help this witch. Which we don't even know if that's even true, that she was SA'd. I highly doubt it, right? But believe all women nowadays, or back then. But Selena went and helped her try to get help. And this is what you do to her?
Critically wounded, Selena nonetheless ran to the lobby, leaving a trail of blood behind her.
And they said that she could have did CPR. She could have called the police or something. Selena might have lived. I forgot about that. We found out that info too. And she even had some kind of a, background in that. She could have helped Selena. But no, she didn't. She locked herself up in a truck all night, like a dumbass.
Told the clerk what had happened and the room number where it happened. And then Selena collapsed.
We have a woman ran in the lobby, said she's been shot. She's laying on the floor in his blood. Okay, what number? Okay. Where are you? How old is she? She looks about 20. Okay, who saw her? Where is she? She's in the lobby right now? Yes, ma'am. She just passed out.
Despite desperate attempts to save her life, Selena Quintanilla was pronounced dead at Memorial Hospital at 1:05 p.m. Central Time.
Wow.
She was just 23 years old. Hours before, as Selena lay dying, her shooter locked herself in her truck in the motel parking lot. And for the next 10 hours, Yolanda Saldívar held a gun to her own head while police tried to talk her out. When she finally surrendered, she was taken away in front of hundreds of fans who had descended upon the Corpus Christi Days Inn when they'd learned of Selena's death.
Man, this is crazy. Now that I think about it, right, this is like a monumental time right there. This is like kind of unheard of. Nowadays it happens quite a bit, but back then, what she did and then being in the parking lot talking to a hostage negotiator, that is like a movie. It's freaking crazy.
Good evening, everyone. I'm filling in for Lily Flores-Vela this afternoon, who is on special assignment covering our top story. And as you may have heard, some unbelievably tragic news today. Selena is dead. Selena Quintanilla, the Tejano music superstar who was from Corpus Christi, died this afternoon at Memorial Medical Center after being shot earlier today at the Days Inn motel.
The loss was monumental. For fans, it was like losing a sister or a daughter or a granddaughter.
For every teardrop that fell, look at all the smiles she brought to people's faces. Bitty bitty bomb bomb. People just, man, they just get wild.
Just 2 days after the murder, Selena's family held a public open casket viewing attended by 40,000 mourners. The line stretched almost a mile. Meanwhile, Yolanda Saldívar pleaded not guilty to Selena's murder, saying it was an accident and that she had meant to shoot herself. After a 2-week trial and deliberations that lasted just 2 hours and 23 minutes, a jury decided otherwise. They convicted Saldívar of murder 1, for which she was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years.
I want to thank me personally for everybody's prayers and everything, because we need to stick together. We're Hispanics. We need to stick together, and this is what she deserved.
I felt justice would stand bad. I also feel sorry for her family because they have to pay the price of what Yolanda did.
Yolanda Saldívar is doing her time in Gatesville, Texas, at the Patrick L. O'Daniel Women's Prison. That's about halfway between Austin and Fort Worth. And 5 years from now, when Yolanda gets another shot at freedom before the parole board, she will be 69 years old. Thanks for watching.
Good job. News Nation with the video here. Let's get back over here. And me and Christy covered this. Christy knows who Selena is. We did a video about this, and everybody's like, man, she needs to stay in there. She's more safer in prison, which I agree, but did she live in a good life in prison? Who knows? You hear about people that do heinous acts out in the free world, and they're in prison living the high life. But nonetheless, I'm glad that Yolanda is in prison and will remain till 2030. Hopefully she gets denied again, and hopefully she'll just, whatever. And there it be. What a tragedy, right? Taking someone's life. First of all, heinous act of violence. What a sorry criminal, Yolanda. And then the whole thing's just messed up. I keep going back to, Tejano superstar and Tejano music, but at the end of the day, I think about like my daughter. This woman took somebody's daughter away. God. This woman took somebody's family member, sister, daughter. She'll never be a mother. You know, forget the fame and the sound of music and all that for a minute and think about just the human aspect. Damn, that's what's messed up about it. Takes out a young woman in her prime of her life. But good thing is the parole board in Texas don't play. Denied parole, Yolanda, and I'm glad. With that, y'all, I'm out of here. RIP Selena, and we're glad that the parole board did the right thing in this case. God bless.